Why Women Lose Interest in Men, the 7 Weaknesses That Kill Attraction. There's a moment every man dreads, a moment so subtle that you might not even notice it when it happens, but if you do, it sticks with you forever. Imagine this. You're sitting across from someone you care about deeply. Maybe it's a woman you're dating, maybe it's your long-term girlfriend, or even a woman you've admired from afar, hoping to make an impression. The conversation is flowing, she's smiling, everything feels right. Then suddenly, something changes. It's almost imperceptible, but it's there. The warmth in her eyes dims ever so slightly. Her responses become just a fraction of a second slower. The energy between you subtly shifts. She still smiles, still engages, but something is off. At first, you brush it off. Maybe she's just tired. Maybe she's distracted. But then you notice it happening again. The way she looks at you is different now. Less admiration, less excitement. And then the worst part kicks in. She starts pulling away. Not physically, at least not at first, but emotionally. She seems less interested in what you say. Her messages take longer to reply. Her enthusiasm when she sees you isn't quite the same. She seems a little more distracted when you're together. You rack your brain, trying to figure it out. What happened? What did I do wrong? And here's the cold, hard truth. Most men have no idea when they're projecting weakness. And even worse, they have no idea how to fix it. It's not about being physically weak. It's not about your job, your money, or even how attractive you are. Weakness, in the eyes of a woman, is something far deeper. It's a lack of emotional strength, self-assuredness, and a firm sense of identity. And once she senses that weakness, it's incredibly difficult, sometimes impossible, to change how she sees you. But here's the good news. You can fix this. And the first step is awareness. Because whether you realize it or not, there are 7 specific behaviors that instantly make women lose respect for a man. And if you don't address them, you'll continue to struggle, losing women you like, feeling unseen, and wondering why they always choose someone else. So let's break them down one by one. Next up, sign 1. Seeking validation constantly. 1. You seek validation constantly. Let's be real. Every human being enjoys validation. We all like to be praised, appreciated, and acknowledged. It's part of human nature. But when a man relies on validation to feel worthy, that's when things go wrong, especially in the eyes of women. And here's what you need to understand. Women can sense it instantly. You might think you're just being nice, being attentive, or trying to make her happy, but if you're constantly fishing for approval, whether through words, actions, or even your body language, she feels it on a subconscious level. What does seeking validation look like? You ask for her opinion on everything. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think I should wear this? Instead of making your own choices, you constantly need her input, subtly signaling that you don't fully trust yourself. You're always checking if she's happy with you. You text, "Are you mad at me?" the second she takes longer than usual to reply. You adjust your behavior based on how you think she feels, rather than just being your natural self. You change your personality to fit what she likes. If she mentions she likes confident guys, you suddenly try to act dominant. If she says she prefers guys who are laid back, you immediately try to seem more chill, even if that's not who you really are. You constantly seek compliments. Do I look good in this? Did I do that well? Instead of owning your strengths, you subtly ask for reassurance. You base your mood on her approval. If she compliments you, you feel on top of the world. If she seems distant, your confidence crumbles. Women may not always call you out on this behavior directly, but trust me, they notice. And once they sense you need their validation to feel good about yourself, it's a massive turnoff. Why this is a problem? At first, she might tolerate it. She might even enjoy the attention, but over time, something shifts. The respect she had for you erodes. She doesn't see you as a strong, confident man anymore. She sees you as someone who is uncertain of his own worth. And if you're not convinced, think about this. Who does a woman truly respect more? The man who is secure in himself, who doesn't need constant reassurance, who knows his own value. The man who constantly looks to her for approval, subtly seeking permission to be confident. The answer is obvious. Now, I get it, you might be thinking, but isn't it natural to want validation? Isn't that just being considerate? Here's the key difference. A confident man appreciates validation, but doesn't need it. He doesn't base his self-worth on it. If he gets it, great. If he doesn't, he's still the same man. How to fix this instantly? Start trusting your own judgment. The next time you're about to ask, "What do you think I should do?" Stop yourself. Make the decision on your own. Own it. Stop over-texting and over-explaining yourself. If she takes longer to reply, don't send follow-ups. If she's distant, don't immediately try to fix it. Let things breathe. Validate yourself first. Instead of looking for compliments, remind yourself of your own worth. When you achieve something, acknowledge it privately. Embrace silence. Many men feel the need to fill every pause in conversation, to constantly entertain, but true confidence lies in being comfortable with silence, because it shows you're not desperate for approval. When you stop seeking validation, something amazing happens. Women notice. They start respecting you more. They see you as a man who knows his worth, with or without their approval, and that is the ultimate power. Next up, sign 2. Avoiding conflict, and why this destroys attraction faster than you think. 2. You avoid conflict, and she loses respect because of it. Most men think that avoiding conflict makes them more likable. They believe that if they never rock the boat, never challenge a woman, and always agree with everything she says, she'll see them as easygoing, drama-free, and desirable. But let me tell you something that will completely change how you see this. Women don't respect men who run from conflict. Sure, she may say she wants a nice guy who's always agreeable. She may claim she loves a man who never argues and is just easy to be with. But what she's not telling you is that, deep down, a man who can't handle confrontation is a man she can't fully trust. What avoiding conflict looks like: you always agree, even when you don't mean it. If she has a strong opinion on something, politics, relationships, life, you immediately conform to her view instead of standing your ground. You let things slide that actually bother you. Maybe she flirts with another guy in front of you. Maybe she disrespects you in a subtle way. But instead of calling it out, you convince yourself it's not a big deal. You over-apologize. Even when you did nothing wrong, you say, "I'm sorry," just to smooth things over. You avoid difficult conversations. Maybe she's been pulling away, but instead of asking what's wrong, you just hope things get better. You let her make all the decisions. You never express what you want. You let her pick where you go, what you do, what the relationship looks like, because you're afraid that disagreeing might upset her. At first, she might like how agreeable you are. She might even say things like, "You're such a great listener," or "I love that you never argue with me." But here's what will happen over time. She will start to lose respect for you. And the more she loses respect, the less she will feel attraction. Why this is a problem. A woman may enjoy being with a man who keeps the peace, but she will never feel deeply attracted to him in the same way she is to a man who has a strong backbone. Why? Because a woman doesn't just want a man who is nice. She wants a man who is strong. And if you can't even stand up for yourself in a relationship, how can she trust that you'll stand up for her when it really matters? Think about it. Would she feel safe with you if another man disrespected her in public? Would she feel protected if someone challenged you in a social setting? Or would she worry that you'd just back down, just like you always do? Deep down, women test men for strength. And if you fail this test over and over by avoiding even the smallest of conflicts, she will start to see you as weak. How to fix this instantly? Learn to say no without fear. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. Stop agreeing just to make her happy. A strong man has boundaries. Speak up when something bothers you. If she does something that disrespects you, calmly but firmly address it. You don't have to be aggressive, just stand your ground. Stop apologizing when you did nothing wrong. "I'm sorry" should be reserved for moments when you truly need to apologize, not as a tool to avoid confrontation. Have difficult conversations. If something feels off in your relationship, bring it up. Show her you're a man who faces problems head on instead of sweeping them under the rug. Disagree when necessary. You don't have to be argumentative, but if you have a different opinion, express it. Women are far more attracted to a man who confidently says, "I don't see it that way," than a man who just nods and agrees with everything she says. When you stop avoiding conflict, something shifts in how women see you. They start to respect you more. They view you as a man with a strong presence, a leader, someone they can count on. Because a man who isn't afraid of conflict is a man who isn't afraid to be himself. And that is incredibly powerful. Next up, sign 3. Being reactive instead of proactive. Why emotional instability kills attraction, and women sense it immediately. Let's talk about something most men never realize is killing their attractiveness: being too reactive. At first, you might not think this is a big deal. After all, what's wrong with reacting to situations as they happen? Isn't that just being human? Here's the problem. A man who is reactive is a man who has no control over himself. And women, they can sense this almost instantly. They see it in the way you handle stress, the way your mood changes based on what's happening around you, the way you let small inconveniences ruin your entire day. What being reactive looks like. You get easily frustrated or upset. Maybe she's late for a date or she cancels plans last minute. Instead of calmly addressing it, you immediately lash out, complain, or act passive-aggressive. Your emotions are dictated by external circumstances. If things go well, you're happy. If things go wrong, you spiral into negativity. You have no emotional stability. You overthink everything. If she takes longer than usual to text back, you immediately assume something is wrong. Instead of staying cool, you start overanalyzing and panicking. You get jealous or insecure easily. If she mentions another guy, even casually, you tense up. You start questioning if she's losing interest. You let rejection destroy your confidence. If she pulls away, even slightly, you take it as a personal attack. Instead of handling it with strength, you become desperate for reassurance. Here's the harsh truth. Women do not feel safe with men who are emotionally unstable. They might tolerate it for a while. They might even try to reassure you. But deep down, a man who lets everything get to him is a man they can't trust to lead, protect, or remain strong under pressure. And over time, that kills attraction. Why this is a problem? Women are naturally wired to seek men who are steady, grounded, and emotionally strong. Not because they're looking for a perfect guy who never feels anything, but because they need to feel safe in a man's presence. A reactive man is unpredictable. He's emotionally unstable, and whether he realizes it or not, he's signaling weakness with every outburst, every insecure thought, every emotional reaction he can't control. Now ask yourself, if you were in a dangerous situation, a fight, a crisis, a moment of extreme pressure, would you rather be with the man who panics, freaks out, and reacts emotionally, the man who stays calm, assesses the situation, and responds with confidence? It's obvious. And women feel the same way. When you're reactive, you're showing them that you can't be trusted to handle pressure, and that means they won't trust you to handle them either. How to fix this instantly? Pause before reacting. The next time something frustrates you, don't respond immediately. Take a breath. Give yourself a few seconds to think before you say or do anything. Stop letting emotions dictate your actions. You can feel anger, frustration, or jealousy, but don't let those emotions control you. A strong man acknowledges his emotions but doesn't become a slave to them. Adopt a mindset of control. Instead of thinking, "Why is this happening to me?" shift your mindset to, "How can I handle this like a man in control of his life?" Stay calm when things go wrong. If she's late, if she cancels plans, if she pulls away, don't freak out. Women pay close attention to how you handle setbacks. If you stay calm and unbothered, they will respect you more. Let go of the need to control everything. One of the biggest reasons men become reactive is because they feel powerless over a situation. Instead of trying to control everything, accept that some things are out of your hands. Focus on what you can control: your mindset, your reaction, and your attitude. When you become a man who isn't easily shaken, everything changes. Women see you differently. They trust you more. They feel safer with you. And most importantly, they respect you. Because a man who controls his emotions is a man who controls his life. Next up, sign 4, lacking purpose, and why this makes women instantly lose interest. 4, you lack patience, and women can sense it immediately. Let's get one thing straight. A man without purpose is a man without respect, not just from women, but from everyone. His friends, his peers, his colleagues, and most importantly, himself. Because here's the thing, women are naturally drawn to men who are going somewhere in life. It's not about being rich. It's not about having a perfect career or driving a luxury car. It's about having a mission, a direction, a fire inside you that pushes you forward. And when a man doesn't have that, women can feel it. And trust me, once she senses that you're drifting aimlessly through life, her attraction for you drops fast. What lacking purpose looks like. You have no clear goals. You wake up every day with no real drive, no sense of urgency, no bigger vision for your future. We are just going with the flow. You let life happen to you instead of taking control. Instead of being proactive, you just react to whatever comes your way. You prioritize chasing women over chasing success. Instead of focusing on building something meaningful, you spend all your time trying to impress women, get dates, or make her like you. You waste hours on meaningless activities, video games, Netflix, scrolling social media. There's nothing wrong with entertainment, but if you're doing these things instead of working towards something real, you're stagnating. You live for the weekend. If your whole existence revolves around just getting to Friday so you can drink, party, and escape reality, you're avoiding the bigger question. What are you actually building in your life? Women might enjoy a guy who's fun and laid back. They might even date him for a while. But deep down, they will never truly respect a man who has no vision for his future. Why this is a problem? Women are instinctively wired to seek security and leadership in a man. Not just financial security, but emotional and directional security. When a woman meets a man with a strong sense of purpose, she can feel it in the way he talks, the way he carries himself, the way he makes decisions. He doesn't just exist. He's on a mission. And when a woman meets a man who lacks that sense of purpose, she might tolerate it for a while. She might even try to motivate him, push him to do more, encourage him to be ambitious. But eventually, she will lose interest. Because a man who isn't passionate about something is a man who feels empty. And when a man feels empty, he starts looking to a woman to fill that void. That's when he starts clinging. That's when he starts making her the center of his life. That's when he becomes emotionally dependent on her validation, her attention, her love. And the moment a woman realizes that she's the only thing driving a man's happiness, she checks out emotionally. How to fix this instantly. Find something to build. I don't care what it is. Your career, your fitness, a side hustle, a creative project. Start working towards something bigger than yourself. Stop making women your purpose. Your purpose should be so strong that whether she stays or leaves, your mission continues. Set real goals, not vague ones like, I want to be successful or I want to make more money. Define what success actually looks like for you and start moving toward it. Take control of your time. Start tracking how much time you waste on distractions. Cut out anything that isn't contributing to your growth. Develop skills that make you valuable. The more skills you master, the more confident you become. And the more confident you become, the less you rely on external validation. When you have a purpose that drives you, women can feel it. They don't just see you as another guy, they see you as a force to be reckoned with, a man with a vision, a man with direction, a man they want to be a part of his journey. Because a man on a mission doesn't chase women, women chase him. Next up, sign 5, indecisiveness and why it makes women lose trust in you. 5, learn your indecision, the difficulty in ritual, lack of understanding in worship, and one grit, a complete rest in you because of the dysfunction. It is, let me paint a picture for you. You're out on a date. She asks, where do you want to go for dinner? And instead of confidently choosing a place, you respond with, I don't know. What do you feel like? She shrugs. I don't care. Anything is fine. And you, instead of making a decision, you go back and forth. Maybe this place or maybe that one? I mean, we could do sushi, but what if you don't like sushi? What do you think? Boom, just like that, she's lost a little bit of attraction for you. You might think you're being considerate, trying to accommodate her preferences. But what you're actually doing, you're signaling uncertainty. And uncertainty in a man, it's a major turnoff. What indecisiveness looks like. You hesitate to make even small decisions. Something as simple as choosing a restaurant, a movie, or an activity turns into a long, drawn-out process because you want to make sure she's happy. You constantly ask for her opinion before acting. Instead of taking initiative, you always check with her first. Is this okay? Do you like this? You struggle with life decisions. Maybe it's choosing a career path, deciding where to live, or figuring out what you truly want. You constantly go back and forth, overanalyzing everything. You second-guess yourself. Even when you finally make a choice, you keep wondering if you should have chosen differently. You are afraid of making the wrong choice. Instead of taking action and learning from experience, you stay stuck, paralyzed by fear of failure. At first, she might not say anything. She might even play along. But over time, her respect for you will fade. Because women do not trust men who can't take the lead. Why this is a problem. Women want to feel safe with a man, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. They want to know that if life throws challenges at you both, you'll be the one who takes control of the situation. But if you can't even decide where to eat, how can she trust you to handle bigger problems? How can she trust that if something serious happens, losing a job, facing financial hardship, dealing with a crisis, you won't just freeze up, unsure of what to do? Indecisiveness equals lack of leadership, and lack of leadership kills attraction instantly. How to fix this instantly? Start making small decisions quickly. Pick the restaurant, choose the activity, select the movie. Stop overthinking, just decide. Own your choices. Even if you make the wrong decision, stand by it. A confident man doesn't need to be perfect, he just needs to commit. Trust yourself. Stop asking for constant validation. If you feel something is right, go for it. Women respect a man who has conviction. Learn from mistakes instead of fearing them. No decision is perfect. Instead of worrying about getting it wrong, focus on adapting and improving over time. Be direct. Instead of saying, "What do you want to do?" say, "Let's do this. I think you'll love it." Watch how her energy changes instantly. When you start leading instead of hesitating, women will feel it. They will look at you differently. They will trust you more. Because a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to go after it is a man who commands respect. Next up, 6, being too nice and why it's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. 6, you're too nice and it's destroying your attraction. Wait, being too nice is a bad thing? Yes, if it means you're sacrificing your own needs, boundaries, and self-respect to keep others happy. This is one of the biggest misconceptions men have about attraction. You've probably heard phrases like, "Nice guys finish last. Women always go for jerks. If I treat her well, she'll love me back." But here's what most men don't understand. Women don't dislike nice guys. They dislike men who are weak, overly accommodating, and afraid to assert themselves. There's a huge difference between being a kind, respectable man and being a pushover. What being too nice looks like. You agree with everything she says, even when you don't actually agree. You put her needs above your own, even when it's inconvenient for you. You tolerate disrespect or bad behavior because you're afraid to lose her. You never express your own wants and preferences. You just go along with hers. You always try to fix her problems, even when she doesn't ask you to. At first, she might like how attentive and caring you are, but over time, something changes. She starts feeling bored, unchallenged, uninspired, because a man who always bends to her will, who never challenges her, who never stands up for himself, that's not a man she can respect. Why this is a problem. Attraction isn't just about being nice. It's about being strong, confident, and having a backbone. Women aren't drawn to men who are overly eager to please. They're drawn to men who are secure in themselves. Think about this. Who commands more respect? The man who stands firm in his values, speaks his mind, and isn't afraid to disagree when necessary? The man who avoids conflict, suppresses his own needs, and tries to make everyone happy? It's obvious. Women want a man who is kind but firm, someone who treats them well but doesn't compromise his own self-respect in the process. How to fix this instantly. Stop trying to be liked by everyone. Not everyone will approve of you, and that's okay. The moment you stop seeking approval, you become far more attractive. Set boundaries and enforce them. If something makes you uncomfortable, say so. If someone disrespects you, address it. Speak your mind. If you have a different opinion, express it Women respect men who can think for themselves. Stop over-explaining and over-apologizing. You don't need to justify every decision or action. Own your choices without needing permission. Prioritize your own life and goals. A strong man has his own mission. Don't let your entire world revolve around making her happy. When you stop being too nice and start being real, something incredible happens. Women don't see you as a doormat anymore. They respect you, admire you, and feel deeply drawn to your confidence. Because a man who values himself is a man that everyone else values too. Next up, sign 7, fear of loss, and how it makes you act desperate without realizing it. 7. You fear loss, and it makes you act desperate without realizing it. Let's talk about one of the most dangerous mindsets a man can have in a relationship, the fear of loss. This fear doesn't always look obvious at first. You might not be the guy begging a woman to stay, but the behaviors always leak out in subtle ways, and the moment a woman senses it, her respect for you crumbles. Because a man who fears losing a woman is a man who has already lost himself. What fear of loss looks like. You constantly seek reassurance. You ask questions like, "Do you still like me?" or "Are you happy with me?" instead of being confident in the connection. You get anxious when she pulls away. If she's busy or not as responsive, you panic. You start texting more, trying to fix something that isn't even broken. You tolerate bad behavior. Maybe she's disrespectful, flaky, or inconsiderate, but instead of standing up for yourself, you let it slide because you're afraid of pushing her away. You overcompensate. If you sense she's losing interest, you start trying too hard, buying gifts, over-texting, doing anything to regain her attention. You make her your entire world. Instead of focusing on your own growth and goals, you prioritize her above everything else. Your happiness depends on her approval. Here's what you need to understand. The moment a woman feels like she is the center of your life, she will lose attraction. Not because she wants you to ignore her, but because women don't want to be a man's purpose. They want to be with a man who has a purpose beyond them. Why this is a problem. Fear of loss makes you act in ways that repel women. It makes you needy. It makes you cling to the relationship instead of standing firm in your own value. And here's what's worse. Women test men for this. They might pull back just to see how you react. They might cancel plans to see if you get needy. They might act distant to see if you stay strong or start chasing. If you fail this test by panicking, overcompensating, or acting desperate, you confirm her worst fear. You are afraid of losing her because you don't believe you can replace her, and that kills attraction instantly. How to fix this instantly? Detach from the outcome. Instead of worrying about whether she stays or leaves, focus on being the best version of yourself. Never let one woman become your sole source of happiness. A man with a strong mission is never afraid of losing anyone because he knows his life is full either way. If she pulls away, don't chase. Pull back too. The strongest men don't panic when a woman gets distant. They match her energy and let her come back on her own. Have options. The best way to avoid fear of loss: know that you are always in abundance. The world is full of opportunities, full of people. No single person defines your worth. Work on yourself more than you work on your relationships. The more confident you are in your own life, the less you will ever fear losing anyone. When you stop fearing loss, something incredible happens. Women don't see you as desperate, clingy, or replaceable anymore. They see you as a high-value man who doesn't settle, doesn't chase, and isn't afraid to walk away. And ironically, that's when they want you even more. Final message: reclaim your strength. Attraction isn't just about what you say or do, it's about who you are at your core. Women don't respect weak men, not because they're mean, but because they can't trust them to lead, protect, or handle life's challenges. So, to recap, here are the 7 signs that women instantly recognize as weakness. Seeking validation constantly? Stop looking for approval. Validate yourself. Avoiding conflict? Stand up for yourself. Respect isn't given to men who run from hard conversations. Being reactive instead of proactive. Control your emotions. Don't let the world dictate your mood. Lacking purpose? Find your mission in life. Women want to join a man on a journey, not be the journey itself. Being indecisive. Make decisions with confidence. Own your choices. Being too nice. Stop trying to be liked by everyone. Set boundaries. Speak your mind. Fearing loss. Never let one person control your happiness. Stay in abundance. When you fix these weaknesses, you stop being just another guy. You become a man of value, a man who is respected, admired, and deeply desired. Because a man who doesn't need approval, doesn't fear loss, and doesn't hesitate to walk his own path is a man that no one, especially women, can ignore. If this hit home for you, take action. Build yourself into the man you were meant to be. And if you're ready to level up, hit that subscribe button. Let's build strength together.